All right, good evening. We'll start the, call the September meeting of the Falls Township Planning Commission to order. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Mr. Crowe, can you call the roll, please?
Colin Henderson.
Present.
John Henney.
Present.
Edward Crowe. Present. Mary Luzchuk.
Not here.
Not here. Brian Binney.
Present. All right, we have a quorum. First item on our agenda is Grand Affair Party Rentals, 651 West Trenton Avenue, Morrisville, tax parcel 13-028-026, zoned HR. Waiver of Land Development to construct a 3,910 square foot addition.
Good evening, Mike McGinnis from Begley Carlin here on behalf of the applicant. I believe we have Nick Rose with us somewhere on a screen from Protract Engineering, and I have Kevin Metz with us tonight on behalf of the applicant as well. My client is the owner of the property located on West Trenton Avenue in Morrisville. If any members of the board are unfamiliar with that location, it's adjacent to the Wawa property in the township. The property is zoned HR, and it's improved by a single building, which is approximately 1,063 square feet. My client has been in business for about 13 years, has been functioning at this site for approximately 2 years. We appeared in front of the zoning hearing board earlier this year and received a couple of variances that would help in facilitating this construction. And the plan, as Mr. Binney, you indicated, is to construct a 3,910 square foot addition on the existing structure in order to improve our use of the property and to facilitate the storage of supplies. So in particular, as you might be able to ascertain based on this use, it's a party rental company. What we do basically is we'll store tables, chairs, tents, dance floor, other items that are associated with that business. It is not a retail use. It does not have a retail component to it. Basically, the operation, and again, if you want to hear from Kevin about this further, he's here, is they store the supplies associated with the business on site. You have approximately 2 employees that will show up. They'll pick up the supplies that would be stored at the site. They'll take the supplies off-site to wherever the client is, and then they'll return at the end of the day. So the addition is going to be to facilitate the expansion of that building by another 4,000 square feet, because fortunately the business has been successful and we're looking to expand this to add the additional supplies at this site. The existing structure, again, limits the use of the adequate storage, and that's why we need further space. In terms of the zoning review and the SAUDO review from Mr. Jones, there are a number of comments in his letter. We are working with him to address those. Nick is also working with Joe. Everything in the letter is a will comply with the exception of 2 waivers. The first waiver that we're requesting is from 191-37B, which requires that driveways or parking spaces within the parking facility shall not be less than 12 feet from a property line. If you take a look at the site plan, the proposed parking is along the property boundaries. We don't have additional space to relocate the property. Just by way of background, when we went to the zoning hearing board, one of the variances that we requested was for buffering, because we don't have additional space for the parking. From an impact standpoint, again, when you look at the parallel spaces on the site, they're located either adjacent to the Wawa, which is going to have no impact, or they're located in the rear of the property, but they're adjacent and immediately abutting a parking facility on the other site. So from an impact standpoint, we think there's no impact with respect to that waiver. The other waiver request is an existing features waiver, 191-78C2, within 200 feet of the parcel. That's a standard waiver request with many of our applications, as you're aware. Everything else is a will comply. Certainly we'll defer to Joe just to affirm that, of course, we'll continue working with him to address the rest of the comments to facilitate the hopeful approval of the waiver of land development application. If there's any questions regarding the site design from a technical standpoint, again, I think or hope that Nick is with us and we can answer them. And if there's any questions about the business or the operations of the business, Kevin's here and would be happy to address those as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Is there any questions from the board?
Will there be box trucks stored at this facility?
Kevin, come up. Yeah, into the mic.
Hopefully would like to put them at least in one of the parking spots. Mostly we store them at my house, but we would like to keep them at the property more than not at the property.
Okay. Is there going to be an estimated range of hours, just with the apartment complex being behind? I understand some events run later. Will there be a time where you unload and load the trucks where it's more convenient to make sure we're not making a lot of noise after hours?
Yeah, so we don't really operate at night at all. We load, again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, we load in the morning. Sometimes we have to come back in the afternoon, but we mostly load for one time. There's only 2 trucks. We load in the morning. Sometimes we have to come back and load in the afternoon, but again, we're done way before dark.
Yeah, I think our estimated hours for the LOI was basically by 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Okay.
easily by 5
All
p.m.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Surprisingly, I have none other. Mr. Jones, you have anything you'd like to add?
Would add that we have been working with the applicant and their attorney and the engineer, and the plans are pretty straightforward. The waivers are common. We have no other comments.
And Mr. McGinnis, as far as the Remington Vernick letter, did you see this? I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, I think we went over the Remington Vernick letter and everything there, so we'll comply as well.
Fire marshal as well?
Yes.
Is there any public comment?
We have no public comment.
If there's no public comment, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion after review on Bingelmeyer and Bingelmeyer letter dated January 14th, Remington and Vernick Engineers, August 12th, Township of Falls Township, Office of the Fire Marshal dated August 9th. I make a motion to wait for waiver of land development application, Kevin Metz, West Trenton Avenue, TMP number 13-028-026, zoned HR High Density Residential District, Falls, Township of Falls Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, JEA, project number LD21-15, with the following waivers of 191-37B and a full waiver for 191-78C2.
Just a clarification, the Bidley-Meyer letter is not a review, it's a zoning determination letter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Poll the board, please.
Colin Henderson.
Yes.
John Henning.
Yes.
Edward Crowe, yes. Brian Binney.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, somehow in that short period of time, I lost my agenda. Go ahead. All right, item 2 is BNJ Group, 1001 New Ford Mill Road, Morrisville, PA, tax parcel 13-051-001-001, zoned HI, sketch plan for a warehouse expansion.
Yes, good evening, Kim Freemuth here in Zoom land. I apologize. I'm the attorney for the applicant. I had planned to be there in person this evening, but have a household full of sick people. So decided to pivot here to the Zoom meeting. So apologize for not being here in person. With me is Wayne Kiefer, who's from Showalter and Associates, the engineer for the project. As you indicated, the property is actually owned by Yookel Inc. It's being utilized by BNJ Group at 1001 New Ford Mill Road, zoned heavy industrial, currently being utilized for a warehouse. There's approximately 178,000 square foot building on the property as it exists today for industrial manufacturing and product distribution warehouse. We're proposing 3 building expansions in 3 separate locations. I'll have Wayne go over the plan with you to show you the expansions, one of which would include a green roof, and the expansions would also require a variance with respect to impervious surface coverage. So we're looking for your feedback on the sketch plan this evening, and with that, I'll turn it over to Wayne. Do you have the plan in front of you, or if we share it on our screen, does that help you?
We have it, but you can share it if you'd like, if that's better for you.
Okay. Wayne, it's up to you, but I will put it on and turn it over to you to kind of go through the plan with the planning commission here.
It's fine. I'll pick up where Kim left off. There is, as she mentioned, there is a 178,000 square foot building on the site. The existing site is just over 14 acres. 3 additions are 56,840 square feet in 3 locations, looking from the road, both the left and right side of the building, and 1 addition to the rear. The reason for the separation between the additions is their internal working. They separate different materials in different areas. That's why they need to expand on 2 separate sides of the building. With the expansion, it's essentially all warehousing. There'll be no additional employees or sanitary facilities. Parking is compliant already for the additional square footage. We are seeking a variance for impervious coverage. 50% is permitted in HI, and we're looking for 61%. We will also be seeking 3 separate waivers to allow the building addition to be within the 100-foot wetland margin. Actually, part of the existing building is already within that margin, and that would be the addition on the lower part of the site or the right side of the existing building. Also, we'll be seeking waivers for a traffic study. The threshold is 50,000 square feet for a traffic study. We know we're just over, but based on the existing use being there, no additional employees, seeking the waiver of that. The last waiver would be for street trees. There is a PICO easement across the entire frontage of the property for high tension wires, and therefore we would seek the waiver to not require street trees there.
What kind of materials are being stored in here?
I believe right now there are some flammable materials that are being stored in the warehouse, which are being stored per code. And some of these areas, Wayne, correct me if I'm wrong, would also include storage of additional hazard or flammable materials. But those would be code compliant. And there is a comment in Mr. Jones' letter about working with the fire marshal and reviewing his comments, which we have not yet received, but certainly we would do that. And I know that when this applicant first occupied the building, we went through a series of meetings with the fire marshal to satisfy him that the storage areas would be safe and code compliant. There will not be explosives. I think that was one question in Mr. Jones' letter to confirm, and we did confirm there will be no explosives.
So, you're going to be asking for a waiver for the wetlands margin. Mr. Jones, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a 20% allowed to be disturbed, or is it my thinking of a different buffer?
No, that's correct, Mr. Chairman. 20% is allowed to be disturbed. And I don't believe, at least maybe I didn't see it, that the disturbance percentage was on. It may be on the plan, but you're correct. 20% is allowed to be disturbed.
So, yeah, if it is not on the plan, so if we do move forward, you may not need that waiver depending upon the amount of the encroachment.
That will be measured with the final land development design.
And this facility is still on a septic system, is that correct?
Wayne, do you know that for sure?
I see septic tanks out in the front of the building, so I assume it is, but
Or is that for a spill
There's
pond?
Yeah, are you talking about this area here?
to the left, go to the left towards Newford Mill Road. My left, I guess it's your left, might be opposite. Right underneath it, in the Pico easement, there's a tank there that says 8-foot, 2,000-gallon septic tanks, 3 of them.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is not on public sewer. And you did say that there was not gonna be any increase in facilities.
Correct.
Right.
If we need to update anything with the health department for the existing septic field, we will do that as part of the final design.
I personally am very familiar with this property. My dad used to work there when it was a can company. So I'm okay with no traffic study. They had thousands of people working there back then. And thousands of trucks coming in and out.
Can you enlighten me what your proposed green roof is gonna be? Is this gonna be grass or is it gonna be trees? I'm just curious.
It's a variety of plantings. The PA BMP manual has some general guidelines for green roofs that we'll follow. Essentially, it's not trees, they're smaller plants within a thin layer of growth media with drainage underneath and then waterproofing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Jones, you have anything?
The only thing I would add, Mr. Chairman, and we alluded to that in our letter, is to just pay attention to water quality enhancement along that green roof for any disturbance along the wetland line.
Understood.
So is the, well, I guess Mr. Jones will make sure that all works out. I see there's a proposed infiltration basin in the back and there's an existing. So that seems like that's all taken care of. This is a sketch plan, so we don't have to make a formal decision, but I personally am in favor of this. As, you know, for what we see and what amount of review letter we have, I have no problems with this application. Any other questions, comments? I think we're good to go. If there's anything you'd like to add?
No, just looking to see if we had your support so that we could move this project forward. Sounds like I'm not hearing too many negatives. We would address the comments in Mr. Jones' letter, and otherwise sounds like we're good to proceed.
All right, very good. Everybody have a great evening.
No
Thank you
public
for your time.
comment. No public comment.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
All right, the last item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from August 24th. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as printed and presented.
All in favor?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Mr. Crowe abstains. All right, we'll call the meeting, adjourn the meeting at 7:20. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?